Last year, as it became clear that Donald Trump would win the Republican nomination, analysts on both the right and the left speculated that millions of regular Republicans would be repulsed by his ethno-nationalism and misogyny. Writing in the Washington Post in August of 2016, Whit Ayres, a Republican pollster, warned. Come election day, however, Republican voters did not abandon their party. The Republican share of the electorate grew slightly, from 32% in 2008 and 2012 to 33% in 2016, and Trump carried these voters 11-1. This pattern has continued into the present and shows no signs of letting up. In recent days, prominent Republicans, including George W. Bush, Bob Corker, John McCain, and Jeff Flake, have warned in various ways that Trump is leading their party and the country in a very dangerous direction. For the moment, however, it is the president's critics who are butting their heads against a brick wall. The reality is that neither Flake nor Corker is seeking re-election, and both would have struggled to win renomination if they presented themselves as adversaries of President Trump. In short, the Trump-Steve Bannon-Laura Ingraham wing of the Republican Party is ascendant. As Mike Allen headlined his post on Axios Wednesday, virtually every Republican now a Trump Republican. Allen went on. Why is this still true, despite their private gripes? Because of the strong, sustained support of GOP voters that the president enjoys. In an email, Alex Theodorides, a political scientist at the University of California Merced, put the state of play in a larger perspective. The real story of election 2016 is that the vast majority of Republicans voted for Trump despite the fact that he was an outlier candidate who lacked the normal credentials in terms of experience, ideology, and character. The nomination of an untraditional candidate from outside the party's mainstream turned the 2016 election into a stress test for Republican partisanship, and it passed with flying colors, Theodorides wrote. Republicans identify, at a deep psychological level, more strongly with their party than do Democrats, according to Theodorides. Theodorides summed up the conclusions he and his colleagues reached in a blog post in Scientific American in November 2016. In other words, the assumption that many Republican voters would be repelled by Donald Trump turned out to be wrong. Instead, party loyalty, a visceral, even subconscious, attachment takes precedence. In fact, as the political scientists Leonie Huddy, Liliana Mason, and Lean Air argue in an article in American Political Science Review, the most powerful form of partisanship is not principled, ideological commitment to conservative or liberal policies, but expressive partisanship, which is more of a gut commitment. Traditionally, political scientists have measured partisanship by asking voters the following questions. Generally speaking, do you usually think of yourself as a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or what? Those who say Republican or Democrat are then asked, would you call yourself a strong Republican/Democrat or a not very strong Republican/Democrat? Independents are asked, do you think of yourself as closer to the Republican or Democratic Party? Respondents are then ranked on a 7-point scale from strong Democrat to strong Republican. Political scientists measure expressive partisanship by looking at responses to more subjective questions, including, how important is being a Democrat or Republican to you, how well does the term Democrat or Republican describe you, and, when talking about Democrats or Republicans, how often do you use we instead of they?